I completely agree with you, Martin. Marvel movies suck, although he's not saying that. Martin Scorsese says Marvel movies are not cinema. The prolific filmmaker Martin Scorsese, he made Taxi Driver, and he made, what's that other movie he did? He's done a bunch of them. The Departed, something about comedy, The Kings of Comedy. Martin Scorsese says Marvel movies are not cinema and compares superhero fare to theme parks. Speaking to Empire magazine ahead of the release of the Netflix original, The Irishman. Side note, Empire magazine was actually a really good magazine back in the day, like 10 years ago or so. They used to give you like nice posters and everything. The last couple times I picked them up, and I lost contact with them for a long while. The last couple times I picked them up, they don't have the free posters of them anymore. Really a shame. Continuing, reuniting him with his Goodfellas and Casino stars, Robert De Niro. Oh, he also made Goodfellas and Casino. And Joe Pesci, Taxi Driver, and The Departed. Director was asked about the proliferation of superhero genre and a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Scorsese then admitted he tried and failed to get into the Marvel movies, which he sees as more play pretend than genuine human drama. Which it is. There's no really human drama to those movies. I mean, they kind of got close with like The Incredible Hulk and Winter Soldier, but people didn't like The Incredible Hulk, and Winter Soldier is just like kind of a one-off. Even though it was a sequel, but the continuation was superhero flair because Civil War really didn't have anything to do with Captain America, really. It should have just focused on that storyline. It tried to be Avengers 2.5. I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema, Scorsese told Empire. Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best that they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological expressions, to another human being. It's not. They're popcorn movies. He's completely right. The way he's talking about cinema, they are movies. They are, something you can throw on, stuff your face with popcorn, and forget about the world for 2 hours. That's why a lot of the people just don't think about the plot holes and everything that those movies are full of, because hey, I had fun watching it. Hey, look, the nice epic fight scene and all that crap. When speaking on the Disney-owned studio's lack of award success in June of 2018, Marvel Studios president and producer Kevin Feige said Marvel is more concerned with captivating moviegoers over winning favor at the Oscars and other major film ceremonies. Although this year they're really pushing Endgame, they're trying to get nominated for 13 awards. So yeah, a year later that didn't age well. Maybe it's easy to dismiss FX or flying people or spaceships or billion-dollar grosses. I think it's easy to say that you have already been awarded in a certain way, which they have, the money and the respect of people and the fact that they have a whole entire group of people who will literally go see any movie, even if it's about like a talking tree and a raccoon, even if they hated the one before it. Like, if people hated Ant-Man 1, they went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. People had no interest in Captain Marvel. It still made $1 billion. Why? Because it said Marvel in the credits. It said Marvel in the name. It said Marvel in the trailers. So, people still went and saw it. And that's their awards. Feige said during even though they were nominated for Black Panther, DC still beat them to the punch with Dark Knight and even Suicide Squad, funny enough, for wins, not just nominations. Sorry, Marvel. Hitchcock never won Best Director, so it's very nice. So it's very nice, but it doesn't mean anything. I would much rather be in a room full of engaged fans. Which, he has a point there too. But, as I said before, this didn't age very well when it comes to, you know, now they're trying to push Endgame for 13 Oscars. If they weren't going to try to push Endgame for anything like just visual effects and that kind of stuff, the stuff they've done before, I could totally see this, and I would respect the hell out of Kevin Feige for saying that, yeah, Oscars don't mean anything. But he's pulled a 180, and now he's saying Oscars are everything because he wants Endgame to win. Ryan Coogler directed Black Panther, would go on to become the first superhero movie nominated for a Best Academy Award picture. It was nominated because it was about black people. Sorry. Truth. Even in the MCU, there were better films. Winter Soldier, better film. Even critically, Winter Soldier, better film. Even if you are a complete Black Panther fanboy, MCU fanboy, they could all kind of agree that Winter Soldier is one of the best ones. That wasn't nominated. Winter Soldier was universally loved by everybody. Wasn't nominated. Black Panther was the, quote, first black superhero movie. When, Blade, Meteor Man. They had other one. Spawn. Almost forgot about him. But, it was the first Marvel one, but they didn't mention that. But the same thing with Captain Marvel of this year. They were trying to pull off that it's the first female one when, morons, Wonder Woman came out like 2 years ago. That was a woman. In the title. A woman. Wonder Woman. So that's probably why Captain Marvel is not really getting that far on the Oscars. And also they're trying to push Endgame. Rival studio Warner Brothers' newest film by Todd Phillips, rated R DC Comics drama Joker, took heavy inspiration from Scorsese's Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and The Kings of Comedy. See, if I just read this thing a second time, I would have got Kings of Comedy. I just couldn't remember the name. In turn, Joker recruited frequent Scorsese collaborator De Niro in his first comic book movie. In tones of Pacific inspiration we had for this movie, Taxi Driver obviously is one of my favorite movies, but it's not directly that. I think it's more of a time period of movies, Phillips noted during the press conference in Venice, which is true. A lot of people like John Flickpick and Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns have all said it kind of feels like an 80s movie type thing. Or late 70s, early 80s movies that they don't really make anymore. So they all have that. They all have that feeling about the movie. Movies from these great character studies that they don't do as much nowadays as they did in the late 70s, whether it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or Taxi Driver, or Serpico, or Raging Bull, of course, King of Comedy. Phillips continued, Marty was doing a ton back then. And even things like 1982 silent film, The Man Who Laughs, were watching a lot of musicals, Scott Silver and I, when we were writing it. Scorsese's Irishman releases November 27th on Netflix. I completely understand where Scorsese's coming from. I know a lot of MCU fanboys are bitching about what he said and saying how his movies all suck and that, when a couple years ago they would have been on the ground quoting Goodfellas and everything and all that crap. And the MCU directors have all said how they like Scorsese in different interviews. And how he was an inspiration to them. What he says is right. He's not saying the movies are bad. He's saying how they're well made, the actors are doing great, actors are doing good jobs. It's just they're not drama movies. They're not movies that you're going to want to talk about afterwards. It's like what Chris Stuckman said about Joker. The MCU movies and most comic book movies in general, yeah, you can watch them, you can enjoy them while you watch them, and you can want to watch them over again, but you're not going to have long discussions about them. You're not going to sit down after watching the movie and try to process it. just going to be, okay, it was fun, and that's it. Thanks for watching. I'd appreciate a thumbs up. You can comment down below if you would like to. You don't have to. I would just like it. Hell, you can even say I suck if you'd like. Just, hey, that's a comment. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.